Hey, what's up everybody? This is Osterberg501 and today I want to go over an incredibly strong gold farm that could potentially make you over 100,000 gold per hour. And this farm spot is going to be located in the Azure span, and I've actually done another video going over this spot, but the positioning was a little bit different and you were farming this for something completely different. That original video was farming for rousing decay because there's all these little oozlings all over that you could pull, and they have hyper spawning as well, but those little oozlings now don't drop any rousing decay. But this spot is incredibly good for pulling all the gnolls in the area and getting Decayed Wildercloth. Now this farm is based around the Decayed Wildercloth, so you're going to need tailoring for this farm, and you're going to have to go into cloth collection to be able to do the majority of this farm, and also to make this farm incredibly lucrative and to get to that 100,000 gold an hour mark. You're also going to need enchanting with the mystic specialization, because a good chunk of the gold is coming from the mystic items that are only made for disenchanting, especially the epic items. And since this is a hyper spawning farm, we are killing ridiculous amounts of enemies an hour, you're going to be consistently getting those epic mystic items that give you resonant shards, and resonant shards are still going for over 2,500 gold a piece. And the best way to do this farm is similar to a lot of other hyper spawn areas. You're going to want 2 groups of 4, you're going to want 1 monk, maybe 1 other tank, a couple DPS to help burst everything down, and then just a ton of range characters to help pull. Hunters and Moonkins are going to be incredibly strong. I was on a Shadow Priest here, also very helpful. But you're just going to want the majority of those 2 groups to be ranged characters to continuously pull everything, group them all up so you guys can AoE them down so everything can respawn very quickly, because the faster you kill these enemies, the faster they're going to respawn and the more loot you're going to get. And having really good pullers for this farm is going to be even more important than other farms, because I did this a few times with a few different groups, and it is pretty night and day the difference in resources and items you're actually getting when you have a very efficient group with a lot of really good pullers compared to a less efficient group and your pullers aren't as effective. So try to get a good efficient group. And make sure you go check your region's auction house to check the prices of these, because they could be much higher or much lower. So the general gold per hour could fluctuate quite a bit. But with the gold prices on my region right now, I was able to get around 100,000 gold per hour in multiple different groups. And like I mentioned, the less efficient ones, you actually get a lot less gold. But for one of the farms I did, I was able to get around 6,000 raw gold per hour. This is just from looting the enemies, which you get quite a lot of gold from, and selling all the grays. You get tons of gray armor pieces and tons of just gray other items from the oozlings that you're also pulling in this area. I was able to get over 800 Decayed Wildercloth, which is still going for around 45 to 50 gold on my server. So that was around 37,000 gold an hour. I was able to get 600 Frostbitten Wildercloth, which yes, that also drops here as well. That is much cheaper, so around 3,600 gold an hour. I was able to get 4,500 normal cloth, and just selling the normal cloth just as itself would have been around 900 gold. But if you want to make a bit more gold on that, you should be able to unravel that with tailoring, and that should make you quite a bit more gold. But I just want to do the base prices without using any other crafting recipes or anything like that. I was able to get 1,500 Wildercloth, so around 7,500 gold for that. I got around 250 bolts. You're able to get that from cloth collection. If you've maxed out that specialization and tailoring, you can also just get bolts from looting enemies. So that was around 1,700 gold. Then I was actually able to get 15 resonant crystals in an hour of farming for around 39,000 gold. Now that is pretty heavily dependent on RNG, because it's RNG just to get the epic mystic items to disenchant into those resonant crystals. And it's pretty much guaranteed you'll get a handful of those from farming here for an hour, but then those can disenchant into 1 to 4 resonant crystals. So if you get lucky, you could just get 4 resonant crystals for every one you disenchant. I think I got 4 for most of the ones I disenchanted in this farm. Or you could get a handful of them, disenchant them, and get 1 resonant crystal each. The amount of gold can fluctuate pretty heavily in terms of resonant crystals. Then I was able to get around 30 vibrant shards for 1,800 gold. I got around 120 dust for 480 gold, but also I wasn't disenchanting weapons. I'm saving green weapons for something later on. And then I was able to get one of these patterns that drops here. It allows you to craft a toy. That's currently going for 6,000 gold. but I have gotten a handful of these from doing this farm for multiple hours. So I'm not sure if that price is going to stay the same right there. There actually wasn't a ton up when I checked. So that can also be some additional gold getting some of the more rare pattern drops from here. So all in all, that's a little over 100,000 gold in an hour of farming this area, but make sure to go check your auction house for these prices. If say Decayed Wildercloth drops by like 5 gold in a couple days, that could pretty heavily affect the amount of gold you can make per hour doing this farm. And say if Resonant Crystals dropped 100 gold, that could pretty heavily affect the gold prices as well. So check your prices before doing this, but even if a lot of these prices drop by a decent bit, this is still going to be a pretty lucrative farm because 100,000 gold is something that I would not expect to stay that high, because that is just a ridiculous amount of gold per hour. That is definitely something that is more start of the expansion gold amounts and not a gold per hour I would expect to stay consistent later on in the expansion. But that's pretty much all I want to go over for this farm. So subscribe if you want to see more World of Warcraft or other MMO videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Comment down below what you guys think about this gold farm, and thanks for watching.